What is going on, everybody? Willis Gaming here. We are back again with another Division 2 video. So we got our state of the game, I guess, recap video for you guys today. So if you haven't done so already, guys, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with bell notifications turned on so you're notified every time I upload a video. With that being said, if you didn't know, I'm running a monthly giveaway for a console of your choice. To enter, there'll be a link at the top of the video description. Just click it, you can go enter, and obviously make sure to drop a like on this video to support the channel. Let's try and reach 2,000 likes on this video. So yeah, there was a bunch of stuff they went over today in the State of the Game live stream. If you didn't see it, this one was kind of longer and more condensed than normal. There was a lot of information thrown about, but we're going to be going over, I guess, the main changes in this video. And if you want to read along with me while I do the video, there'll be a link in the video description to the full State of the Game, I guess, breakdown. But yeah, let's just start it off. So the first big part, I guess, news is the raid. The raid's being delayed, so it's no longer coming out April 25th. They are delaying it to basically fix some balancing issues that have been brought up by the community. They're pretty much addressing a lot of our concerns, which is really good. So I'll get on to the raid delay. There's going to be a title update, number 3, so I'll go into that later in the video as well. But let's just go over some of the stuff they're actually changing. If you didn't know as well, the PTS, the public test server, is actually live right now, and you're actually able to jump on the server and obviously test out a bunch of these new changes. Now, I will be going over some of the PTS changes in the video. There are a lot of changes that haven't gone live yet that will be going live with the Title 3 update, so I'll be sure to mention if it is actually live on the PTS or if it is a change coming with the Title Update 3. So, normalization changes. There are changes coming for the normalization, which will be tested on the PTS. These changes are only for PvP content, and it will apply to Conflict, Normalized Dark Zone, and the Occupied Dark Zone. So, they're normalizing the mechanics. The equipment and weapons will be normalized to gear score 500, even if your gear score is higher. That also means they are no longer normalizing for a middle ground, but they are respecting the rolls on your gear. That means when you had an item with a very high crit chance roll on it, it will be like a normalized, it will be like that in normalized content. Skill power, now this was a big one, will also be respected, and when the mods are active in PvE, they will also be active in normalized content. So obviously, if you didn't know, if you switch to normalized, it drops your skill power, and then you pretty much lose your skill power perks just because, I guess, the normalized variation would make it so you didn't have as much. If it's active in one, it's going to be active in the other, so that's really, really handy. So global PvP modifiers. The PvP damage modifier will be reduced from 70% to 40%, and that will bring the time to kill down to what you experience in PvE. This way, you'll have more time to react. The skill damage modifier will be increased from 20% to 25%, so that should make your skills more effective. Overall, the encounters should last longer overall, and the skills should be more useful. So this is a very good change. If you didn't know, in PvP content, you die super quick, so it is nice to see they're extending, I guess, the fight time in PvP, which is pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think of that. So the Occupied Dark Zone modifiers. So they've also added a specific Occupied Dark Zone PvP damage modifier. Currently it sits at 40%, same as the normalized DZ, but they have the ability to specifically fine-tune the Occupied Dark Zone depending on how things change. That should also help lower the time to kill in the Occupied Dark Zone. Pretty awesome. So, PvP modifiers for weapon archetypes. They will add specific PvP modifiers for specific weapon types. For example, they can specifically buff the assault rifle in PvP now. That also enables for specific PvP balancing, because the damage of the weapon is overwritten by the PvP modifiers when you enter PvP content, obviously. So, hipfire changes in PvP content. You will not be able to crit when you hipfire. In PvE, it behaves as it is now. So yeah, now we've got some Dark Zone changes. This is pretty exciting, and obviously it's really huge to see they're actually changing the Dark Zone. So the loot changes now. So the Normalized Dark Zone and the Occupied Dark Zone will now drop less loot and more contaminated loot. They want players to engage in loot extractions and obviously go in the loop, because if you've ever been to the Dark Zone, nobody really extracts, nobody extracts their loot, and it's just kind of boring. Named bosses guarantee contaminated loot, and higher leveled landmark bosses have the ability to drop multiple items. If you didn't know, the contaminated loot is some of the best loot in the game. I've even heard it can roll with like better stats than the normal PvE rolls. The landmark cooldown, so the landmarks got a cooldown once they were cleared and before they were activated again, about a minute. Sometimes they would pretty much come up instantly, which is pretty crazy. This should encourage more player movement, and it's basically not for just farming the same landmark. Awesome. So we got Dark Zone NPC balancing. The NPCs in the Dark Zone will be less lethal, but they will also have more armor, so they'll be more tanky. So we got some rogue changes for the Dark Zone. They are removing the rogue cooldown when you die. Hallelujah. So if you didn't know, when you go rogue, there's a cooldown from when you can actually go rogue again. This is pretty awesome. The rogue toggle cooldown will stay, so you basically won't be able to like toggle it, like do like a fake, I guess, initiating rogue or whatever. Some people would do it to bait out other players. It's cool that they fixed that. So the Dark Zone perk was also changed, that it will no longer reduce the rogue timer cooldown, but you will lose less XP when you die as a rogue. Awesome. We've got some Dark Zone looting changes, so you'll be able to carry more contaminated items. The default is 6 items per bag. The character perks were also changed. The tier 1 perk will increase the bag size to 8. The Dark Zone perk will increase the bag size to 10 in total. So some empty Dark Zone changes. If you've ever been in a Dark Zone, you've probably noticed it's either completely full or completely empty. So they plan on changing this. They're making multiple changes to guarantee that you encounter 12 players in a Dark Zone session. Thank the Lord. It's so dead sometimes just walking around the Dark Zone and you literally don't see anybody. They're reducing the amount of Dark Zone brackets to 2. Everyone below character level 30 and everybody in endgame. So there's only 2 different brackets. There's not like 20 different brackets of Dark Zone. Awesome. Not all changes will be implemented with Title Update 3. There is more in the queue down the line. So most of the stuff that you're hearing right now will come in Title Update 3. Some of the stuff is already live on the PTS, which I'll go over at the end of the video. So in endgame Dark Zone, you're able to get gear score 515 items. They're revealing where you can actually get this loot when the content is obviously revealed. So some Thieves' Den changes. When you get the special ammo there, you're allowed to weapon swap. There are also more changes planned to the Thieves' Den to make it more attractive, but no further details were given. We've got a bunch of conflict changes, and now moving on to some exotic talents and gear changes. Now they want exotics to feel special, obviously. They should not specifically do the most damage, but they should also promote a fun and unique playstyle that does not have to be the most effective one. They are not always centered around raw DPS, but that being said, they buff the damage of exotics across the board. So Pestilence is actually going to be buffed, and it's going to be more effective in PvE specifically. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the, I guess, Title 3 update patches that they announced. Now I'm going to go on to some of the stuff which is live right now on the PTS, which is potentially going to be coming to the full game. But yeah, the PTS is just for testing. We're meant to leave feedback. We're meant to tell the devs what we want and don't want. And some of this stuff may not even make it to the full game if people complain that much. But yeah, the talent Unhinged. Damage bonus reduced to 20%. Handling bonus reduced to 20%. Then we've got Strained. The missing armor requirement increased to 10%. Frenzy. In PvE, reloading a weapon from empty grants 20% weapon damage and a 15% rate of fire for 3 seconds. In PvP, 15% weapon damage and 15% rate of fire for 3 seconds. Then we got Preservation. So in PvE, killing an enemy repairs 10% armor over 5 seconds. Headshots improve the repair to 20%. In PvP, 5% armor over 3 seconds. Headshots to 15%, and it requires 7 defense attributes. Then we've got Spike. Headshot kills grant 35% skill damage for 20 seconds, and it requires 5 yellow utility attributes. Then we've got Reformation. Headshot kills increase skill repair and healing by 15%, requires 9 yellow utility attributes. Then we got Safeguard. Reduce healing bonus to 50%. Reduce duration to 5 seconds, less than 4 offensive attributes to activate this perk. Then we've got Clutch. Increased health gained per critical hit to 20%, reduced armor gained per critical hit to 1%. Then we've got surgical, reduced critical hit chance bonus to 5%. We've got spotter, increased weapon damage to pulse targets to 20%, increased requirements to 5 utility yellow attributes. Then we've got kneecaps, shooting an enemy in the legs has a 15% chance to apply bleed. Entrenched, headshots from cover repair armor increased to 10% of your armor. We've got patience, after being in cover for 5 seconds now, armor repairs for 5% every 1 second, and this requires 9 defensive blue attributes. Then we've got unbreakable. In PvE, 70% of max armor is repaired when your armor is depleted. Armor kits used within the next 7 seconds are not consumed. And then in PvP, it is 20% of max armor in 7 seconds, requires 11 defensive blue attributes. Then we've got Bloodsucker. In PvE, depleting enemies' armor adds a stack of 25% armor for a bonus of 10 seconds. Max stack is increased to 6. In PvP, 20% armor bonus for 5 seconds. Max stack of 5 requires 11 blue defensive attributes. Then we've got Berserk. So in PvP, the 10% weapon damage for every 20% armor depleted requires 11 red attributes and AR, LMG or SMG equipped. A lot of people are probably going to be unhappy about that. Then we got Bloodlust. In PvE, swapping weapons within 3 seconds of a kill grants 35% weapon damage for 5 seconds. In PvP, 20% weapon damage for 5 seconds. Requires 9 offensive attributes to use. Then we've got Blacksmith. Killing an enemy with your sidearm repairs 50% of your armor. Can occur once every 15 seconds. Requires 11 defensive attributes. So that's quite a lot of changes in this update which is coming. Remember guys, you can jump on the PTS, you can test out all of this stuff if you want. But I hope you guys enjoyed this state of the game recap video. Let me know your thoughts on the changes. Honestly, I feel like a lot is going to change just from player feedback. But there is a lot of stuff in here which I agree with. Obviously there's a lot of stuff I disagree with. I'm really for the exotic changes. Exotics just don't feel special at all. I like that they're making the Dark Zone more, you have to go there. Like, people are just, I get it, you don't want to do PvP, but it's part of the game. You have to eventually go there to get the best gear now. A lot of people are probably going to argue with that. I don't want to do PvP, I'm going to stick to PvE. But if they do end up making this change go through, it's probably going to annoy a lot of people, the fact that they have to go to the Dark Zone to get the highest level gear. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think of that. But yeah, make sure if you haven't done so already guys, you have entered the console of your choice giveaway. This has been Willis Gaming guys. I will see you in my next video, and peace.